real horror film. All this recent vampire stuff has just removed the horror and turned it into a Harlequin romance. This does not let you forget how horrible it would be to actually be a vampire.
Well, the thing that I really dug about the first part of this film is like almost the evolution of him just being a regular guy and becoming a vampire, which I thought was really interesting. That I've never really seen before in a vampire film, where the guy, there's a scene where he falls asleep, he rolls over, he lands on the floor, and the next morning he wakes up and he's like, he can hear something burning and it's his back. And he's just starting to realize, like, well, what the hell is going on with me? That whole aspect of the film I really dug a lot, because honestly, with vampire films, I'm kind of bored with them right now. And this is the first time I've watched a vampire film where I was actually really interested in this whole, just this guy's struggle to finally, come to terms with who he is and what he is and try to figure it all out. And it just made a really interesting film for me that I was completely captivated throughout the whole thing.
Well, you guys are right. I mean, it is one person who's trying to find humanity in being a vampire, because he was a priest. He has to hold on to his morals of, I have to have human blood to survive, because if he doesn't have blood, in most vampire movies, you just see people kind of wither, or they can go for days without it. No, if he doesn't have blood, he's going to start getting that virus that he had before he was ill. And he will die in a horrible way. He's bursting out into blisters. He's bleeding in all parts of his body. So, but he says, no matter what happens, I'm going to try my best to not kill people. And
as we all know, that never lasts.
It never lasts, and he's trying his best, but and he could probably do it, but his biggest flaw is that he has chosen to live the rest of his life with a person who, instead of him becoming more human, this person is becoming somewhat of a monster.
And just to let people know, this film is very long.
Very long.
And I know a lot of people are going to get a little antsy towards the middle act. But I mean, that's kind of when you see a Korean film like this, that's kind of what you have to expect. These Korean films have always had this certain pacing that just American audience, I don't think, will ever get used to.
Well, films like this are art films, and they're meditative.
Well, but the problem, this is the film's one problem, is that the director, Chan-wook Park, he gets a little repetitive. There are things that he establishes, and he feels he needs to establish them a few more times to drive them home, and there are things he doesn't necessarily have to repeat, and the film comes out about 15, 20 minutes longer than it should be. It's a friend of mine, as we were walking out, said, wow, I've never seen a movie that so desperately needed a Weinstein to chop it up. But that's the film's only problem, is towards the end, there comes a point, especially in the final scenes, where you're kind of like, we get it. Let's move on. Get to the next part.
Yeah, there's a whole section of this movie, and y'all disagreed with me on this, but I thought it could have been removed. I don't know about you. You might disagree with me too, or you might agree, but there's a section of the movie where we get this subplot of somebody having hallucinations, and I won't go into any more detail than that, but it becomes comical. And it doesn't fit the tone of the film. And it makes the film longer than it should be. And I'm like, if you remove that, then we don't have to.
But that's
the movie wants to be that long.
Standard Chan-wook Park. He always does something that's a little goofy and comical, and is just kind of off kilter to kind of throw off.
He can do what he wants to do. I'm just saying it's too long for me.
It's not comical, and I saw what he was trying to do. He's trying to establish that these characters are still human, that they feel guilt for acts that they've done, and this is them dealing with it. But unfortunately, it doesn't explain itself very well that that's what's going on here, and it just goes on a little too long till you're going, well, is this guy a ghost? What is it? I don't understand what's happening here.
I was about to say this. Yeah.
Oh, we don't ruin too much.
No. But
we've already ruined a lot.
Honestly, I disagree with Carlisle that I think there's nothing wrong with the end. I think the end is perfect.
No. The ending is perfect.
The way it is.
No, in the last few scenes, it just goes on a little long. Well, we can talk about this after we turn out the mics.
It's
but
in the middle that I have issues. But
but literally, it's only small trims. There's nothing in this film that it's like, I don't agree with Corey in that we need to cut out this subplot or that subplot. There's just a few times where he repeats something, like an extra shot or two, where it's like, you know what, we got that a moment ago.
I agree with you. I think we basically agree. Because I think this is a fantastic film. It's not Park's best, but with a guy like Park, that doesn't say a lot.
It's like saying, well, this movie isn't Scorsese's best film.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's who this guy is. He's the Korean Scorsese.
Yeah, he's one of those people, if you're not watching, you really should be. You should be going to find all his films and watching them. And this is one of those that you should see. It's a full-price movie, regardless of the few problems it has.
I absolutely agree with you. It is absolutely a full-price movie. Not one of Park's best, but still a really great film that if you're into vampire films, this is part of the canon. If you haven't seen Let the Right One In. This is a perfect back-to-back double feature to watch with Let the Right One In, that and Thirst. These films have redefined the way horror filmmakers are looking at vampires, and it's really fantastic.
You are correct, sir. I agree.
Yes!
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree on that note as far as, this will make a great companion piece to Let the Right One In. Like, I didn't mind so much the middle part of this film. There could be little things taken out here and there, but overall, I really enjoyed it because honestly, the story really enthralled me. The guy's, the priest's character was really, I found fascinating, and the girl he falls in love with, her character really just kind of threw me back because I wasn't really expecting that. And once you started to realize that, oh man, there's something wrong with her. Yeah, she was becoming a monster. I thought it was the most realistic part of the movie because considering anybody else who would have these vampire powers, I think a majority of the people would just go fucking ape shit nuts. And,
you would.
And exploit them. God knows I would. Hell yeah.
I think he makes an argument for both points of view, really.
Yeah.
I understand it. If I had those vampiric powers, my first thought would be like, well, yeah, I am an animal. I'm not a human anymore.
No,
obviously I'm biologically designed to kill and eat them. So is there anything ethically wrong with it at that point?
I think you'd have a problem with just eating too much, but we won't get into that.
Well, that would be drinking too much, technically.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I already
Drinking,
have that
yes.
problem.
Yeah, if anybody
You'll end up like that one character in Blade.
He'll think he could fly. He'll jump off a building and weight just carries his ass down.
He's gonna be on 2020, like vampires that don't know when to say stop.
Fucking Maury Povich, get out of my face or I will rip your neck open.
It's funny. It took a priest to make a badass vampire. Out of all these gay-ass vampires that we had,
Hey, granted, he's dressed for it.
And he's dressed for it. You know what? He can leave right from the church and go straight to the goth club.
Yeah, exactly.
When there's one scene where he's like taking off through a window and his priest frock is behind him, like, oh my God, it's a vampire cape. They use it for that purpose. It just didn't occur to me till that moment.
Yeah. Did you want to be a priest after that scene? It's like, that'd be kind of cool. I can get away with that.
Well, he wants to be a priest for the reason they all do, to get the little boy.
No, I'd want to be a priest to get the girl in this movie.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't blame you. Wow. I hope her career launches.
And I tell you, man, you're right. That girl was hot, man. Even when they tried, because they tried to make her nasty at the beginning of the movie. They put calluses on her feet. They put snot run out her nose, and she was all dark circles in her eyes. And it's like, nah, I still do that.
I know.
You can't make this girl ugly.
So does this girl elevate it to a full price?
You damn right. Her and freaky sex bring it to a full price.
You haven't rated the film yet.
I just did. Full price.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So we all agree to agree. Full price.
Yes.
아무도 저를 위해 기도하지 못하게 하시고